you dedicate the book to Randi Weingarten. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, the teachers unions overplayed their hand by fighting to keep the schools closed as long as possible to secure ransom payments from taxpayers. They were able to leverage the school closures to call for more money. They got $190 billion in so-called COVID relief since March of 2020. And guess what? They overplayed their hand and they sparked a parent revolution because families, one, saw that the school system didn't care about them all that much, and families had to they were desperate, seeking alternatives. They were trying to pay out of pocket for private school tuition and fees while still paying for the closed government schools. But the silver lining was that the teachers unions plan backfired very quickly when, through remote learning, which we really should have just called it remotely learning, not a lot of learning was going on, but families got to see what was happening in the classroom. And guess what? We now have 11 states with universal school choice. Milton Friedman's vision finally coming to fruition. I wish he were alive today, because now 1 in 5 states already have school choice for everybody. No picking winners and losers. Everybody can take their kids' taxpayer education dollars to the school that works best for them. That could be the public school. You know, if you like your public school, you can keep your public school. But if not, for whatever reason, unlike with your doctor, you can take that money in the form of a voucher or a scholarship to a private charter home or other type of educational learning environment that works for them. So this is the silver lining of the pandemic. I mentioned a lot of the hypocrisy and just theatrics and fear mongering in the book. And if you want to take Ted Cruz's advice on the back, he says, ruin Randi Weingarten's day by reading this book. I did dedicate it to her. I sent her a signed copy. My handwriting wasn't all that great. I apologize. But it's because I went to government school, so you can't really blame me.
The parent revolution, the parent revolution, the parent revolution. That's the name of it. Let me tell you something. I've often thought while doing the show, if I only cared about, there's your dedication, your note to her. If I only cared about doing a fun and interesting show, I would have kept my kids in their indoctrinating New York City schools, because it would have been nonstop fodder for my program, the insanity that went on there. But I actually love my children, and it seemed like actual abuse to me. And so, as everybody knows, we pulled our kids from those schools and found much better schools out here in Connecticut. Well, I checked in with some of my friends at those same schools still. And my one dear friend has a son who was in my younger son's grade. So now they're in 4th grade, right? So her son, she shared with me a little essay. It was like a little paragraph that her son had to do about America. And I am going to read to you, with her permission, what her son read. She got it home and could not believe her eyes. Okay, he writes, the event I would teach people about is slavery. The reason I think it's important to teach people about this event is so that we can see that America was built on Black people, not on whites. Behind the scenes, it's all Blacks. The reason we have picked crops, built houses, and America is because Black people did it all. The only thing white people did was take credit for work they didn't do. As a white person, I stand with Black people all the way. This is a 10-year-old boy who is not getting this from mom and dad. He's learning this at an institution that in the 3rd and 4th grade is trying to indoctrinate the children to hate the country and hate whites. It's very clear. The only thing whites did was take credit for it all. She was shocked, and I don't believe they'll be at this school next year.
And look, the taxpayers are spending about $40,000 per student per year in the government-run schools in New York City. And look, the whole school system is supposed to be meant for creating a more cohesive society, creating more of a civic participation and tolerance of others' views. This is the exact opposite of what we're seeing in our government institutions today. And that's why the parent revolution has been sparked. The schools aren't focusing on the basics. They're not focusing on math, reading, and writing, on education. They're indoctrinating kids in ways that are antithetical to their families' values and to the values of this very country. And so families are saying, hey, why not give me half that money? Give me $20,000 or even $10,000 to take my kids somewhere else so that I don't have to pay twice, once through the tax system and again out of pocket for a private school, or even to homeschool at a fraction of the cost of what they're spending in these government failure factories.
How do you measure it? How do you measure it, Corey? Do you measure it like by state? How many states now have school choice? Like what's our metric for success here?
The barometer of success used to be whether you had any form of school choice at all, whether that was for low-income kids or special needs kids. The new barometer of success, the new measuring tape, is whether you have universal school choice. So we're not picking winners and losers anymore. Everybody pays for a public education, and everybody is guaranteed a publicly funded education. That doesn't have to happen at a government school, though. And now you have, before 2021, no states did this. Now we have 11, all red states controlled by Republican legislatures, Arizona being one of the first and one of the most recent being North Carolina and Alabama this year as well. The momentum isn't subsiding, and it's because it's really popular with parents. In Arizona, for example, right when they opened the website to sign up for the scholarships, the government website broke down. I mean, so you can make a joke about it being a government product. That's why the website broke down. But it's also because so many families flocked to the alternatives that we now have 80,000 families in just about a year flocked to the school choice program in Arizona. It's popular with parents. It shouldn't be a partisan issue. If you look at voters, Republicans, Democrats, and independents on the ground, they support school choice nationwide with supermajority levels. If you look poll after poll after poll, the problem is the Democrat elected officials are a wholly owned subsidiary of the teachers union. Joe Biden's a hypocrite on school choice. He went to private school. He sent his kid to private school, and then he fights against school choice for others, pulling the ladder up from behind himself. Thankfully, Donald Trump is a supporter of school choice. He would support it and fight for it as hard as possible. He did so when he was in office last time. But the problem is Randi Weingarten, who I dedicated my book to and sent her a copy, she's the head of the American Federation of Teachers. 99.97% of their campaign contributions in 2022, guess what? They went to the Democrats, not the Republicans. It's a complex money laundering scheme. It ought to be illegal. They use public funds to lobby against the public, and it's all just a way to funnel money to the Democratic Party. Some Democrats are defecting on the issue in elected office, but it's a very rare case for them to buck the party trend. And it's all about money. It's not about logic.
There's no better example of this than in Illinois, which is just so disgusting when it comes to children and school choice. There, I never miss an opportunity, my audience knows, to play the video of those moronic Chicago teachers during the pandemic while these children, low income, in great need of education, were kept at home, as you point out, not learning. They were dancing. They were doing interpretive dance to show us how these totally able-bodied teachers could not possibly go into the classroom with these little germ-carrying monsters. Let's watch it.
Make it make sense. Safety is essential.
Oh my God, it never gets old.
Keep our students and our teachers safe.
All right, if these women are 35, it's a lot. They could be in their late 20s. And yet they wouldn't teach the children because they were terrified of dying of COVID. They refused. Chicago's legendary for its bad public schools and Illinois in general. So tell us why Illinois, in your book, you point out is a particularly sad case. It's worse than we knew.
Yeah, I mean, they're totally pathetic, but they did show families nationwide how low the unions will go. In Chicago, they had a board member vacationing in Puerto Rico, thousands of miles away, but while railing against going back to work in person. Somehow it was safe enough to travel halfway across the planet, but it wasn't safe enough to go back to work. They just wanted to go on vacation. They used any excuse possible. In Illinois, the unions were actually successful last year in getting rid of a private school choice program specifically for low-income kids. And guess what? The teachers union boss out there, Stacey Davis Gates, she sent her own kid to private school this year after just a year before calling school choice racist and calling private schools segregation academies. I mean, I don't know if that's not hypocrisy. I don't know what is. And look, other families should have opportunities too. If she wants to send her kids to a private school, fine, but she shouldn't step in the schoolhouse door and prevent other families from escaping her unionized failure factory. She knows it's not good enough for her kids. It should be good enough for other families to access alternatives as well. They shouldn't be trapped in her government-run dumpster fire we call the Chicago public school system.
Do you owe back taxes? Stressful? Pandemic relief is now officially over. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have an unfiled tax return or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe 10 grand or 10 million, they can help you. Whether it's business or personal taxes, even if you have the means to pay, or if you don't and you're on a fixed income, they can help you finally resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Call 1-800-245-6000 for a private free consultation or visit tnusa.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.